Yeah.
And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And just guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that I was in.
There's no coming back from that. The people who like dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get like a second set.
Didn't look like he got out of first gear. Jake Paul was just on pure survival mode from round 1 right through to round 6. I don't know if he's got a moral victory going 6 rounds. Maybe he has. People might give him credit for going 6 rounds, but he got in there and just survived. He just went in there and ran like a chicken from round 1 right through to round 6 when he got splattered.
Joe Rogan was shocked by the serious injury Jake Paul suffered in his fight against Anthony Joshua. He warned that boxing is extremely dangerous and that continuing to fight can cause serious damage to the brain and affect everyday life. Rogan stressed that injuries like this can have long-term effects, making the risks of boxing very real and potentially life-changing intro.
Because then you can't think, you can't do things, you don't know what the you're doing in life. It's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think. And I knew that
Joe Rogan strongly advised Jake Paul to rethink taking high-risk boxing matches. He said no amount of fame or success is worth risking your life. After the Joshua fight, Jake reportedly suffered a broken jaw and lost several teeth, which had to be removed. Rogan warned that continuing down this path could lead to permanent injuries. He reminded fans and fighters that while these fights bring excitement and attention, health should always come before glory in the ring.
Look at all them celebrities like dude from the Mighty Ducks, the little boy actor that got strung out on drugs. And all his fronts and all his teeth were missing from being on meth or whatever, whatever drug of choice he was on. There's no coming back from that. The people who like dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get like a second set. So if I'm not mistaken, the dude from Mighty Ducks, somebody like he's been clean and they gave him a makeover and he has like pretty much fake teeth. So yeah, the teeth are going to be cooked. Now, I agree with the other part that Rogan was saying, but let's keep going.
Yeah, I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen. Yeah. And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah, and I've already expressed my thoughts on this. I'm not giving no props for a person who says I am a real deal boxer because I went in and get smashed and got my jaw broken, but I lasted longer than Ngannou. But I was crazy enough to try. Because, to be honest, we're way past the honeymoon stage with a person like Jake Paul. You've been in this for long enough to go through fight camps, dedicate your time, effort, energy, money, spar with people. You spar with some quality names because you have resources and money or whatever. So we're well past that to the point where you just get credit for stepping in. You maybe got credit your first fight or whatever, first couple of fights, for coming from your...
Former champion David Haye explained why. Anthony Joshua didn't knock Jake Paul out in the first round. Haye said boxing isn't about instant knockouts. Even though Joshua didn't land huge punches early, Jake was still taking damage. Jake moved well and avoided some shots, but the repeated hits added up over time. Haye explained that Joshua shouldn't be criticized, because control, patience, and accurate punches matter more than rushing for a quick finish. The fight showed how dangerous boxing can be. Even when punches don't look extreme,
that's usually what happened was what was always going to happen. Now, a lot of people thought he would only last 1 round, 2 rounds, but you got to give Jake credit. He went out there and had a solid game plan and was implementing it at times, was landing shots and was avoiding getting hit with the big shots. But there's a reason we have weight categories in boxing, and I'd say he sticks with the cruiserweight division where the guys are the same size as him, because that, without having the schooling, the many years, I was able to give away 100 pounds in weight because I've been boxing since I was 10. I was an international amateur and world champion at cruiserweight. That's why I was able to do the big jump and use the tactics that he used to win the heavyweight championship. But so credit to him, nothing but respect for Jake Paul for putting on such an event and putting himself in harm's way.
I would imagine some people back home for you are going to say, man, AJ should have gotten out of there in 2 rounds.
Anyone who understands boxing knows it's very difficult to close the range on someone who doesn't want to hold his feet. And is AJ supposed to just run around swinging and missing? No, he's supposed to wait for the right opportunity, which he did. And once the opportunity presented himself, he landed and the fight was over. But yeah, anyone who kind of gives AJ stick because he didn't knock him out in one round doesn't understand boxing.
What level would you say Jake Paul is after that performance? What level would you say Jake Paul is?
It's hard to tell. It's very, very difficult to see what level he was because he was fighting someone in the top 5 and
The analysts are now questioning Jake Paul's future in boxing. They point out that throughout his career, Jake often avoided elite-level opponents. Instead, he mostly fought retired boxers, inexperienced fighters, or athletes from other sports like MMA. This made many people doubt how strong his record really was. After losing to Tommy Fury and being knocked out by Anthony Joshua, analysts believe the risks have finally caught up with him. They warn that continuing to fight at this level could be extremely dangerous and may signal the end of his boxing career.
Not boxers like Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, none of them are boxers. Nate Robinson, who's a YouTuber. So I guess, over the hill, retired Mike Tyson, who's 60, almost lost his life before the fight and had blood transfusions and was coughing up blood and was transported off of a plane for passing out. And Jake Paul wanted to fight him and still tried to knock him out. A lot of y'all like to say he had mercy on Mike, but I promise you, I watched the fight. Just go back and watch it again. He was trying to knock Mike Tyson out from beginning to end. He could not do it. The reason he couldn't do it is because he refused to get too close to Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson always would swing back, and he knew could not take that punch from Mike Tyson. So he hit and he ran. And at the end of the fight, he was not showing mercy on Mike. He was trying to make sure that he doesn't get knocked out or caught with something stupid, because he knows he's about to win. He didn't want to risk it. I'm not going to keep letting y'all run with this narrative that Mike Tyson was following a script with all these fake script posts running around on Facebook, or saying that he had mercy on Mike.
Hearn calmly reflected on the fight and said everything went according to plan. He explained that the strategy was always about staying patient, controlling the fight, and slowly breaking Jake Paul down. While Hearn expected the fight to end sooner, he was satisfied that it lasted longer and allowed Joshua to fully execute the plan. He praised Joshua's calmness and confidence in the ring, saying it showed his experience and ring intelligence. Hearn also brushed off online criticism, making it clear that only the result matters.
Before the fight, I'm going to break him down, and then I'm going to knock him out. And that's exactly what he did. I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds. But, when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just, anywhere, arms. I got in, he went, what are you rushing me for? And I was like, oh, sorry. So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing. And actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random, I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mom said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She was promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round.
Yeah.
So, no, I'll give Jake respect. And, sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me, but if she can send me a free book.
Was very critical of the fight and called it a disgrace to boxing. He questioned why Jake Paul was being celebrated at all and said the hype was more about entertainment than real boxing skill. Frock warned that modern boxing is starting to value social media fame over true ability in the ring. He said this trend threatens the sport's integrity and could mislead younger fans. According to Frock, fights like this should not define boxing. And promoters and regulators need to protect the sport's credibility instead of chasing viral moments,
however you want to call it. It wasn't a bad knockout. It wasn't an El Sparko. He wasn't rendered unconscious, but he got done. He got it on the chin. He went over. He didn't beat the count. He was sort of up on his feet. But if I'm honest, the whole fight was terrible, wasn't it? It was just so bad. It was just shit, wasn't it? A proper bad fight for AJ. And let me start with AJ. AJ was following him around the ring a little bit, sort of pouring with a jab, putting the jab on the shoulder of Jake Paul, sort of putting him in the corner and not really pulling the trigger on the right hand. He didn't seem to be motivated to go in there and just smash Jake Paul into oblivion in the first 1 or 2 rounds, which I think he could have done. But he's been out of the ring 15 months. He's a bit slow on his feet, a bit ring rust maybe. And it's hard. When I used to spar novice amateurs, even when I was a world champion pro, if you're not motivated, sometimes you can have a couple of bad rounds and you're sort of looking at your opponent and a jab hits you or right hand hits you. And I think AJ was in a bit of a daze early on, just walking him around, touching the jab on his shoulder, not really pulling the trigger on the right hand. Didn't look like he got out of first gear. Jake Paul was just on pure survival mode from round 1 right through to round 6. I don't know if he's got a moral victory going 6 rounds. Maybe he has. People might give him credit for going 6 rounds, but he got in there and just survived. He just went in there and ran like a chicken from round 1 right through to round 6 when he got splattered. And it's just, you can't really justify what he's done because this is supposed to be a professional sanctioned boxing match. And I think it brings the integrity of the sport down when somebody like AJ, is a 2-time world champion, can't get in there and just completely dismiss somebody like Jake Paul, who I've said for ages can't fight. He's not a professional boxer. It's just AJ following him around, touching him to the shoulder. Round 1 came and went. Round 2 was much of the same, bit slow. I think AJ got caught with an overhand right at one stage, but sometimes when you're out in the rain, you're going to get wet. It was following him around, taking his eye off the ball, probably a bit undermotivated, thinking, what